So I scream out for you to rescue me. Hold me in your arms and turn my nightmares into dreams. Wipe my tears away.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Joel Emile. I'm the creator of the show Helping Hand. This is going to be a special show tonight. And I just want to tell you how I came about creating this particular show. It's about pet love. It's about you having a pet and how much you love your pet and how much your pet probably loves you. Um, when I was trying to come up with a concept for a show, a non scripted show like tonight's show will be where the actors get to tell you their story about their pet or a friend's pet that they know of. I have a dog. He's a golden retriever. His name is Duke. He is now 14 years old, and he's 110 pounds, and his back he has arthritis in his back legs, and I'm constantly picking him up. The vet says, you know, he's on medication, but just pick him up, help him up off the floor. So I'm truly giving him my helping hand by picking him up every day. But for all these years, he has given me his helping hand. He's my son, and I love him so much. And the story I could say about him is when my mother got sick, she became elderly, and she lived with us. One night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, Duke went crazy. He was barking his head off. He usually sleeps in our bedroom. So eventually, I got out of bed and I followed him, and he took me to my mother's room, and I couldn't find her in the room. And then he took me to the bathroom. My mom happened to slip in the bathroom, and she broke her leg.
Oh,
And of course, I called 911, and they came. The ambulance came, took her to the hospital. But if it wasn't for Duke alerting me by barking like that, and my mom could have been laying on that bathroom floor all night until the next morning. So Duke, he's the king of the house. He's my love. He's my pet dog, my pet golden retriever, and I love him so much. And I will be picking him up as many times I could. God lets me pick him up, and I'm physically able to pick him up because I love him so much. So that's why I came up with this particular concept of helping hand, because pets, no matter what kind of pet you have, could be a fish, a bird, a dog, a cat, they're so loving and they give you unconditional love. So enjoy the show. Hear all the stories from the different actors about their pets or any pet they know of. And to Mr. John Line, the narrator of the show.
Joel, I appreciate it, and I appreciate the idea. And I'm thinking that those who either have pets, have had pets, or even know people who have had pets. Not everybody's a pet person, but almost everybody likes the other person's pet. You know, I've been fortunate to have numerous pets, mostly dogs, through the years. My first pet, however, was a goldfish when I was about 4, and I named him. I don't know if any of you guys remember the old Bozo Big Top show. One of Bozo the Clown's compadres was Professor Tweeny Foofer. Well, that's what I named my goldfish, Professor Tweeny Foofer. And I remember my mother and father getting a big kick out of that. And that was my first pet. But my the two of the several dogs that come to mind is my first dog. I had a Basset Hound from the time I was 5 till I was 15. We got her when she was 3. And there's a friend right there. Well, tip it, get down. um, we got her when she was 3. Some folks from the other side of my town had to put her up for sale because they were expecting another baby. They had a small child, and it was either the baby, which they certainly couldn't put the kibosh on, or the dog. So we were lucky enough to get a hold of Biscuit, the Basset Hound. And Biscuit was my best good friend, I have to say. She was just very special. She was, my father, in his Brooklyn accent, used to say, that Basset Hound, Biscuit, she's got 2 speeds, slow and stop. And, he was right, but he would get her all fired up and she'd go running through the house sometimes, and crack him up. And, she would love to sun herself out on the patio in the summer. And she lived to be 13. And you know how the Basset Hounds have that wiggly skin on their neck. Well, she developed a little bit of a tumor that got bigger. When she would climb the steps, it would hit, on her neck, and we would have to give her a helping hand, up, like you were saying, Joel, up the stairs, in her last few months of life. But like you said, she gave us such a helping hand through the years. I would put bows on her head on Christmas morning, and she'd just sit there like, really? We had a Jack Russell Terrier just a few years ago. Probably, I'm going to say probably 2004 to about 2017, and we got that from my son. She was my wife's dog, though. Chase, the Jack Russell, she was my wife's dog. Except when she wasn't feeling well or was hurt, she would come to me, and that made me feel good. So that was her little helping hand, whether she knew it or not, when she wasn't feeling well, or one time she got winged by a car out front. Not bad, but just enough to scare her. She came right to me. So that made me always feel good. It just, and like you say, Joel, it's just something that they give you what they give you with no conditions, no nothing. And, I miss having a pet. One day maybe we'll do it again. Now, without any further ado, let's go across the pond. Our good friend John Martin is here from the UK. It's past your bedtime. We appreciate you staying up with us over there at about 1 o'clock in the morning UK time. So I saw a little cat friend, pouncing around a little bit a few minutes ago. Is that what we're going to talk about, or tell us what's on your mind with your pets, John?
Yeah, well, evening. It's worth staying up for you guys. But my first pet, you've reminded me, was Gulliver the guinea pig. But I've mainly had cats, and they've had a theatrical link. My first two, one was called Sweetie, one was called Adelaide, and then lost both of them. I was given two black cats by a friend. Here he comes, by a friend who I was best man at his wedding, and I was told I had a boy and a girl, and so I named them Dot and George from Sunday in the Park with George. And then when I took them to the vet said that you've got two girls, and I said, well, I was told I had a boy and a girl, to which the vet said the lack of testicles should have been a clue. And I said, well, I didn't like to look. So then George became Glinda, because she. I then worked out that the friends, his sister, reckoned that she was a white witch, and of course, Glinda is the white witch from either Wicked or the Wizard of Oz. And I couldn't tell the difference between the two of them until Glinda managed to, here he comes, managed to break her tail. So I had to have it chopped off. So then I could very easily spot the difference between the two. And I had them for about 15 years until recently. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about is this chap, Milo, who turned up just before lockdown. Come on, say hello. Just before lockdown, very thin, very thin, very thin, and very, very skinny. Whoops, careful. He's trodden on the keyboard. You vanished. Where are you? There you are. Sorry, he managed to open a new tab. And I'm not running a bar. And he turned up tiny, skinny. You could run your finger down his spine and feel the bones in it, everything. And then, of course, lockdown. I couldn't do anything. Made some inquiries around. Nobody had lost a cat. When things loosened up a bit, took him to the vets. He had a chip. And they found his owners. Now, his owners were in a place called Abbey Wood, which is 40 miles from here. And they didn't want him back because they'd got a dog, and they thought they had lost him completely, because he vanished after his first birthday. And when we put it all together, he'd been on his own for a year.
Wow.
And then rocked up with me in the middle of nowhere and had landed very much on his paws. So, of course, I took him in. The other two Dot hated him. I had to feed her separately. She was able to, being a woman, could multitask. She could growl and eat at the same time. Whereas Glinda sort of tolerated him. Well, now they've both gone. He has come into his own. So I'm left with him. He has grown. But the interesting thing is he has no voice. Because I don't know whether you know, cats don't meow to each other. They only meow to us. And both Dot and Glinda were terribly vocal. And whenever I do online role playing and stuff, and whenever they would ask me, "Do you have any pets?" I go, "No," and then immediately Glinda would go, "Meow." So I had to throw her out and do the whole "oh, next door's cats come in" routine to get that sorted out. But no, the most I can get from him is meh. That's the most vocal he can. So he can sit here, unless, as you've seen, he will walk all over the controls. But yes, so he is what I refer to as my cuckoo cat. So that's the story of Milo, and I just would love to know what happened in that year when he was on his own and how on earth he managed to travel over 40 miles. But anyway, that's cats for you.
Milo, the resourceful English cat.
An easily bribed cat.
Yep. That's a great one. John, thank you, man. We really appreciate that. Yeah,
Pleasure. Thank you. Come on.
cats can be really something else, man. They can be as cool as can be. They can be otherwise too, but they can be as cool as can
Oh
be.
yes, they can. Yes.
Hey, let's hear from Jen Service. Jen, what about it?
Yeah, so I recently I lost my pet about 3 years ago, I think, in October of 2021. I had a pit bull. His name was Muggsy. After I think the oh gosh, the like Bugs Bunny cartoons, the big mobster guy, Muggsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he kind of
Let's
reminded
go
me of
for a
that.
ride. Okay, boss.
Right. Yeah, he kind of
Yeah.
reminded me of like a mobster, but like the silly guy, the
Yeah.
doofus. But he had a heart of gold. He was born in 2012. He was give me 1 second here. I think my computer tried to cut off on me. Can you guys still hear me?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
we can hear you.
Oop,
You're not
still there?
moving, Jeb, but we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Now you're gone.
It's okay.
All right.
Your voice
What?
still here.
Oh,
Keep
no.
regaling us with the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Go
No
ahead.
problem. So as I was saying that I had a dog named Wolf. He lived to be about I think 9 years old or so, but he was my best friend. Really, just a heart of gold. He loved, I guess, eating sweets and things like that. In Chicago, it's really popular for the Chicago Public School cookies. And I used to make these homemade. They're called butter cookies. They're really big, and they look like they have like a little line on each side of them. He's the only dog that I have known or that I have ever had that will sit in front of the oven and then watch the cookies bake. And then will let me know when the cookies were done and would bark if I didn't give him said cookies. So hopefully he didn't have diabetes when he was alive. But yeah, like I said, heart of gold. Very protective, very funny. He used to always like to roll on his back and then act like he was talking as well. So he was a little comedian. Used to always love barking at trains because for a short period of time I lived in a rural community and we had a train right in the back of our house. So each time the choo-choo train came, he would howl at it and he would get mad if no one paid attention to him howling at said train. So he needed to have an audience in order to perform. But like I said, he unfortunately passed away a few years ago. It was a combination of cancer and a few other things, and we let him go great, in his sleep quietly. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't miss him. But this is the first pet that I've ever had for like 9 years, 10 years, and he really taught me how a friendship works. For being a pet mom. And I didn't even consider him, I guess, at this point, a pet. I considered him as a dog's son. as silly as it is to say, but I definitely cherish his memories, and I hope to maybe one day in the future have a dog that's similar to him because he was great.
They are such good friends, Jen. I mean, they really are, and you talk about having a pit bull, and they get a bad rap too often, as far as I'm concerned. Um, Dogs are dogs, cats are cats, animals are animals, and however you treat them, you're going to get what you give. And they have that aura about them. But I have heard so many stories of folks having American pit bulls, similar to what you just said, that they were just some of the best, most fantastic friends ever. That's great. That's fantastic. Tim McGrath,
Good
tell
evening,
us your pet
gentlemen
story,
and
brother.
ladies. Jennifer.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about. Ironically enough, Jen, I lost my Bailey 3 years ago as well, and a friend of mine gave me some really deep, insightful. I was bawling my eyes out, and he goes, "Listen, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." And we had about 12 years together, and Bailey was very playful. He was an Airedale Terrier, and when we went out to Wisconsin to get him, all of you guys should experience this. They opened up a crate, and 15 puppies come crawling out, and you get to pick one.
Wow.
They're all going to the shoelaces of my brother-in-law, my sister, and my mother, except for Bailey. And I pick him up, and I swear, guys, he winked at me. That was it. Game over. This is the dog I'm taking. And we had 12 amazing years. He was so playful. And tell me someone who's always happy to see you every single time you come home. Every time they're always there for you, tails wagging. They're great around children. They're great around adults. And at the end of the day, you're lucky that you knew him. And I miss him every day. I'll tell a quick story before I get done. It's July in Chicago, and it's hot as hot can be. The central air has been on all night. And I wake up in a cold sweat, and I'm like, well, he is lying. His whole body is over the air conditioning, blocking the air from coming out and just going on to him. So may he rest in peace. I hope I see him again. And as I said, I think canines are man's best friend.
Awesome, Tim. Very, very fantastic. And you're right. They, they are something else. They really are. Steve Tobis, how about it, man? Tell us. You've got some pictures of pooches right behind you. Are they who we're going to talk about here today?
No, those are my exes.
That's
Wow,
good.
wow, yippee yo, yippee yay.
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk. Yes, the dogs behind me are. Let's see, this one here, right there. That's Kino. Kino. We got Kino back in 2012. She was a puppy from our daughter's litter. She was actually the last puppy. Nobody wanted her. She was the runt, and she was actually a Jacoby. So we took her, and we fell in love with her immediately. And Kino was with us for quite a while. Unfortunately, she did pass from congestive heart failure. But she was everywhere with us. We would travel quite extensively, and we would drive from Toledo all the way to Las Vegas every winter. And she'd be with us, and she would have a great time. She'd be sitting on my lap. She had to be right next to me all the time, regardless of driving or not. She's right there, all the time. The funny story, and when Kino passed, it was so heartbreaking that my wife and I just were devastated. I think we all know that once you have a fur baby, that it's just like a family member, and when you lose her, it's devastating. The one thing I do remember about her, I remember a lot about her, but one of the things I used to always do on our trips is the kids love, when we go to hotels, all the little kids in the hotel would say, "Can we pet her? Can we pet her? She look, why does this dog look so familiar?" And I get that quite a bit. So I decided to make up one of my famous stories. That's Kino, the Wonder Dog. You've seen her. She's on Nickelodeon. She has her own TV show. And the kids believed it, And Kino was, she would do a couple little tricks, but nothing major. And we lost her. And we were thinking about whether we wanted to do this again and have another pet, because the devastation of the loss is so great. It's sort of like, do you really want to go through this again?
It hurts.
It does. It hurts. But the answer is yes, you do. Because the pleasure that they give you each and every day makes up for it. So then we ended up getting this little girl over here. Where is she? There she is. Sadie. And Sadie is with us now. Sadie is named after, if some of you are theatrical, you'll know that Sadie is Fanny Bryce
Yeah.
from Funny Girl.
Yep.
That's how I named her, Sadie, pretty lady.
Oh,
And she's wonderful. She is a Jack Russell Terrier. And she, yeah, John, you know,
I do.
full of energy
Nothing but mischief half the time.
all the time, into everything. She
Most of
runs,
the time.
she gets these zoomies and she just runs in circles, got a million miles an hour, you know? And it's like, okay, we may have got the wrong pet because we're seniors and she's got a heck of a lot more energy than we'll ever have at our age. So she was actually a rescue dog and we got her. And if anybody out there is looking for a great place to get a rescue dog, we found the perfect place. There's only one city in the entire United States to get a rescue dog. And Sadie comes from there. You know what that city's called?
Mackinac,
Howell?
Pennsylvania.
Howell, Michigan. Howell. Howell, Michigan is where she came from. She came all the way from Kentucky. So it's a little bit weird sometimes, but that's okay. But she's a great dog. Love her. She cuddles up to me every time. If we go out, the first thing she does when we come home is she comes running to the door. And if you don't acknowledge her, oh boy, you won't hear the end of it. And she hates, unfortunately, John Martin, I'm sorry to tell you this, but unfortunately, Sadie is not a cat girl. She does not like cats. Unfortunately, where we live, we're inundated with all of these feral cats. Sadie's not a fan, but she protects us and keeps us safe from all the squirrels and the cats, and we love her, and we hope she's around for a very, very, very long time.
And there you have it. Thank you, Steve. We hope so too. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Brian Evans, here we go, brother. Talk to us about your pet, Dealy.
All right. So there's a lot of the people in my situation you're involved in something called the Job of the Month Club. Now, 18 years ago, I was a new aspiring member, and I took an ad in the paper. I responded and got a job with a carpet cleaner because I needed something to pay the bills. So, as fate would have it, I get called to a cat hoarder's house. Now, I'm running the hoses to the place. It's really nasty, disgusting. And I'm running the hoses through it. The only way to get them up was underneath this one bush. So I had to crawl underneath the bush and get up to the house to run the stuff. So as I'm crawling through the bush, I see 4 little eyes looking at me. And I said, oh boy, what's this? So I pick up 2 little kittens. They both fit in each hand. So I brought them up to the house and I asked the person, they said, hey, could I take one of these home? And he said, sure. So I gave him one and I had a little box in the truck and I put them in there and I go about my business. I take care of the place and now I got a little cat. So I'm going home and I stop at a little store and I bring him in and the guy, I'm looking for a can of cat food to feed him. I get the little can of cat food. Everyone in the store is goo-goo and gaga all over him and bring him home. He wouldn't eat the food though. So a couple hours go by and wouldn't eat the food. Take him to the pet store. And the guy looks at him, pulls up his lip and says, you got to feed him milk. Now I'm at a loss. Because I'm like, well, how the hell am I going to milk a cat? And I go, oh, we got formula. So I said, okay, great. I buy the thing of formula. And me and my wife started bottle feeding him. So we're bottle feeding a cat now. Yippee, it's great. And he grew to love us a lot. He would sleep with my son, my youngest son, in his crib. My kids loved him. And that was 18 years ago. I still have him.
Oh,
Wow.
He is my absolute best friend. When I come home, he's waiting for me because I got to give him his little soup. Now, this
Yeah.
thing is like crack the cats, as John was mentioning before earlier. He goes nuts for these, and I got to give them to him. He loves to come out in the garage with me, which I call his vacation home because his favorite couch is in there. And I spend a lot of time with this guy, and he's my best friend. He really is. And, I'm definitely worried about him going. So I've been trying to do everything I can to keep him healthy and all that. I started giving him this stuff called Cosequin because his back legs are getting a little shaky, and it's actually working. Now he jumps on the breakfast bar where he's not supposed to be, but I kind of let it slide, So, other than that, yeah, he's pretty great, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but definitely once he goes, I'm probably going to get a tortoise. This way, it's not my problem. Everybody else has to deal with it, but yeah, I mean, he's been my helping hand, so to speak, because I can always count on him being there, and yeah, it's a great thing, man.
well, and that's what they really, now that Joel, you put it in this perspective, that's really a lot of what our pets can be. Whether it's 1970 and you're 5 years old, or if it's 2024 and your cat is 18 years old. They help us. They don't know that they're helping us, but they do. And again, you've heard this, I'm sure, folks. You've heard this before. We may not have a pet for all of our life, but we do have them for their entire life. And they know. I mean, Joel, you talked about Duke barking like a fiend because your mom had slipped and fallen. Tim, you talked about the dog. It was hot out, so what does he do? He spreads himself over the air conditioning. They know. Steve, they hang out with you. And John, you're Milo. He loves to hang around so much that he opens new tabs on the computer without realizing it. Good for him. And Jen, my goodness, Muggsy the pit bull. How could you go wrong? I mean, my goodness, they help us. They give so much, and the beauty part of it is they don't even realize it. They just do. So we love them. We hope you love, folks, your pets, whatever they may be, from goldfish to iguanas to kitty cats to puppy dogs to whatever else. Love your pet. They do love you back. What do you think, Joe?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Hey, everyone, enjoy your pets. Have a wonderful life. Thank you for watching the show.
Exactly
Thank
right.
you, all.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy. Keep
Take
the
care.
faith. Don't give up. Good things are coming.
Joel, real quick. Remember I said I wanted to come in here? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit real quick about pets I
Ladies and
have.
gentlemen, Doc G from Hamilton Radio. There he is.
I have to get involved with this one, guys.
Here we go, man. Give us what you got.
So I had a bunch of dogs. I had about 2 dogs and about maybe 6 cats. A lot of them were rescues. And each one of them touched my life in a lot of different ways. The first one when I was younger, his name was Chips. We got him, and he came with his own chair. I've never seen an animal come with his own freaking chair, but he did, right?
Chips.
So we had to bring the chair home because he would not leave without the chair, and he was only a Chihuahua Fox Terrier, but he was the best part of my early years, going into like 15, 16-year-olds. He died later on with he had colon cancer, and he was really ill, so he died. But he had a stroke before that. I came home one day and he had a stroke, and there was something I wanted to do, and there was nothing I could do for him. But I just, I did what anybody would do, take cold water and put it on the dog. I saved his life for that point, and then of course the cancer got him later on. But the cats that have been in our lives, they've been all rescues. and each one of them had their own personalities. These last two that we have now, Boo and what's the other one? Love
And Pepper.
and Pepper. Her daughter is the cat's Pepper. But what an amazing bunch of cats. You know, they have great personalities, and of course, last but not least, my dog Frankie, who passed away a couple years ago. He was 10 years old. We got him as a rescue. He was a brindle boxer, and I can't tell you how many times he smelled smoke for me when I wasn't really sure it was smoke there, and it ended up being the back of one of them water coolers that you buy at BJ's and stuff like that. So it overheated. He smelled it, and then of course I pulled the plug in, and it was smoking. He smelled it before all the smoke detectors. So people, they save your lives.
Yeah.
They help you in so many ways, and he was always there for me, John. He took me for a walk, but we had fun.
Well, that's the bottom line. I mean, again, they may not be around all our lives, but we are for all of theirs, even if it comes in pieces, even if we pick up where somebody else may have started, and that's okay. Frank the dog, Chips in his chair. That's great, man. That's great. And then
what's funny about the dog, though, Frankie, really quick, because my last name is DiPiro. I actually have a cousin named Frankie DiPiro. So when I said, I think it was one of his relations. I think it was his wife. I said, Frankie DiPiro is sitting on the couch. She says, no, he's not. I said, yes, he is. That's my dog. She was, arguing with me, but it was funny. Really funny. But I do want to say thanks, guys, for letting me do that.
No, Gino, thank you. Doc G, everybody from HamiltonRadio.net. Have a listen. You'll be glad you did. A lot of great music. And again, just to wrap it up, again, thank you, Joel. Thank you, Ryan, Steve, John, Jen, and Tim. Tim had to bounce, but that's okay. We'll be back next time with a more probably traditional helping hand episode.
I think Doc has one more thing to say.
Yeah, one more thing,
ahead.
John.
Real quick, congratulations, Doc, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you. We're coming up to 28 years broadcasting live on the internet. Hamilton Radio, which is a milestone for us. Believe me, we didn't even think we'd get this far. June 6th is going to be my 63rd birthday, if God willing allows me to see it. And it's my 33rd wedding anniversary, June 22nd. So the whole month of June is loaded with a lot of great.
June's big for brother Gino. Yeah.
So I wanted to share that with everybody. Thank you.
No, it's listen, throughout all of that, through your years with Hamilton Radio, 28 years back when the internet was, what the heck is that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew from the internet back in 1996. It's some government initiative, isn't it? Well, whatever. It's all those years. And even the 33 years with you and Sandy being, husband and wife, there's not enough fingers and toes in my town probably to count the number of helping hands that have been, come your way, come our way, come whomever's way. So, you know what, sticking with it, and as we always say at the end of each Helping Hand show, keep the faith. Don't give up. Don't ever give up, rather, because success is coming right around the corner. Maybe tomorrow, maybe in 5 minutes, or maybe, the overnight success that's 28 years old. But success is coming. Do good things, be good, be nice, behave, and do all those good, nice things. And we'll catch you with the next Helping Hand.
Bye, everybody.
See you,
Bye-bye.
folks.
Oh, my God.